This is willpower.
We're in, and we can go to that, your theory on keto and salt. Yeah, beautiful.
So what happened is that the keto craze happened, and during that time, people wanted to use salt-based electrolytes. That's the main thing that the people in the keto world were putting out there, because when you're moving into a ketosis or fat-adapted state, you lose more water, and people who don't use electrolytes or some sort of mineral replenishment can end up with keto flu symptoms, headaches, all sorts of different symptoms, gut problems. So, and then the other thing about the salt-based electrolytes is they're very inexpensive to produce, extremely inexpensive to produce. So all you need is a big marketing budget, you see. So they're pretty easy to put out on the market.
Yeah, and there's such a wide range of pricing as well, and I never really understood exactly why. I mean, like a very big differential, people spending, anywhere from 25 cents to like $2 a day on.
I know.
And that feels it just feels like it's a challenge for we're all on different budgets, and I get that. And also it's just a challenge for when the ingredients are pretty similar and then the cost is so different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is important education for people.
And what's important to understand is how does mineral replenishment work? Mm-hmm. And this is the same for whether it's salts or pills. So most pills are made from rocks, shells, and bones. Now, we know that, if you're eating and you get a rock, a shell, or a bone, you spit it out because your digestive tract doesn't digest that well. Mm-hmm. Even when it's in a powdered form, your human digestive tract doesn't digest those things well. And the thing is, those minerals in those pills, powders, and the salts, they have to be digested all the way down to their ionic chemical components. So now let's use a magnesium salt. So a magnesium salt is quite absorbable. So it gets broken down. And the thing we have to remember, though, is it has to be digested, because there's probably flavoring in that, because they're trying to cover up the salt flavor. So they add flavoring. As soon as any supplement that you take is flavored, it has to be digested. Or if it's in a powder form, it has to be digested first. Not a bad thing. It's just simply that it lowers the bioavailability, the overall bioavailability. So let's say you start out with 500 milligrams of a particular supplement, and only like 10 to 12% of it. Now, the magnesium is higher, the salt-based magnesium, but the rock shells and bones, only 10 to 12% of it ever gets digested down to the point where it could even hit a receptor site in the lining of your small intestine and be absorbed.
So when you're talking about rock shells and bones like this, because it does have mineral content in the earth, et cetera, and are they really just like shaping this out of certain things when they make those kinds of capsules? Or are they like grinding it all to powder and then compressing it into a pill so they look exactly the same? Because I never really grokked that that's like the origination of where they're getting the minerals from, right?
Sure. Lots of calcium is literally shells ground up or bones ground up.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or potassium, or most minerals are made from some sort of rock, some sort of shell, or some sort of bone ground up. And that's why it is important to find out where did they source that material. And then in a lab, they take those powders and they create a formulation. Now most mineral supplements are single, like you get calcium citrate or calcium gluconate or whatever it is. Those are ionic minerals, or they're bound in a certain way. And different minerals, according to different people, have different levels of absorption capacity or bioavailability. The thing about this whole conceptual framework of trying to find the most bioavailable form of magnesium or whatever is that minerals work together. They do not work alone. And the challenge that we have, and we're trying to fulfill all of the mineral needs for these quadrillions of mitochondria in my body, and every single cell is doing a different thing and has a different requirement moment by moment by moment. So there is absolutely no algorithm on Earth, smart person or AI, that could determine what minerals you need in what form at any given moment in a particular area of your body. Now, the important thing to remember is that minerals work in triumvirates, pairs, quads. And so as an example, magnesium works with phosphorus and potassium. So you want to make sure when you're putting a whole bunch of magnesium in your system, your body is going to try and balance that amount of magnesium with phosphorus and calcium. And where does it get those? Excuse me, it's calcium, not potassium. And where does it get those? From your bones. You see? So using single mineral supplements on a regular basis is a challenging thing for your body. And if you think about ecosystems, and your body is a complex, incredibly miraculous cellular ecosystem that works in phenomenal ways at every given moment, constantly doing biosynthesis processes and developing proteins and enzymes and on and I mean, it's completely awe-inspiring. And at the foundational level, minerals are like the fuel. They are the cofactors required.
Yeah, I love this.
So when you think about nature, we're all designed in cells, okay? All the plants, all of the life on Earth is cells. So nature had to develop a way to get minerals into the cells because they had to come in from the outside, and amino acids. They had to come in from the outside of the cell. So what I kind of see from the research that I've done is that these plant-based humic and fulvic substances, which have been on Earth since the beginning of time, since the beginning of cellular life, they are Mother Nature's solution to getting minerals and other nutrients and et cetera into the cells, and also to detoxify from the inside of the cells.
Yeah, amazing. And I love that you brought up this terminology, and I'd love to do a little bit of a mini glossary if we can, to just break down an understanding. 'Cause people are going to see, I think 4 terms is what I see around the minerals, and I'd love for you to give us the definition so we can, it's all figure outable. Trace minerals, so I see this word trace on bottles a lot, ionic, fulvic, and humic. And just understanding what and how those terms are used.
So trace minerals, and I'm going to add a term, which is megadose minerals. Okay.
Nice.
So megadose minerals are those minerals that you get in a pill form, and they're measured in or drinks also, but they're measured in milligrams. That's what I call megadose minerals. Trace minerals are minerals measured in either micrograms or smaller, parts per million. So very, very small amounts, okay? Now, the other one is ionic. So ionic minerals are minerals that have been bound to a water molecule. So they basically, what you take water that's deionized and you put it with minerals, and the minerals bind to the water molecules. So they stay in suspension. That means you'll never have to shake the bottle or stir your glass. Okay. Then we had, the last one was, then we have fulvic and humic. So fulvic and humic are actually molecules. Okay. And what they're complex, we call them mineral complexes. Now you can also, people usually refer to fulvic and humic as acids, fulvic acid, humic acid. Those are simply fulvic and humic that have been extracted from their source material using hydrochloric acid. It's not a bad thing. It's just, it renders a substance that you probably wouldn't want to eat, like put in your mouth, because it tastes very bad.
Right. So you mean that's how they are sourced and gotten in, the molecules are gotten out by using that process, but that process of that having the hydrochloric acid is it's staying outside after we've rendered what we need.
it's not exactly like that. So we're going to get really deep into chemistry.
As everything, it's like an
Let's
oversimplification.
Let's actually back up, but let's talk about where humic and fulvic come from.
Yeah.
So imagine most supplementation for humans and also for agricultural uses comes from different materials, okay? And imagine 65 million years ago, the Earth was a really warm climate and covered with rainforests in lots of different places, and a meteor hit the Yucatan, and it killed 75% of all life in a few hours. And all of those rainforests around the Earth died and decomposed. So you have all these freshwater plants decomposing, and that's how humic and fulvic are made. It's actually humic. Humic is made through the decomposition of freshwater plants. Now, we have different substances around the world. We have shilajit in the Himalayas. Many people have heard of that. It's a resin-like material. We have peat that's in the British Isles, and it's like a kind of packed compost-like material. We have terra preta, which is a very black soil-like substance in South America. And we have something called humate and leonardite. There's a few other names of these crystalline substances in North America. And these materials come from below the earth, so they're very pure. They haven't had contact with modern pollutants, which makes them a great source for human consumption. So this black crystalline substance we use in our products, humate, we use a process that doesn't use hydrochloric acid, which is why we don't call our products humic or fulvic acid, because they're actually very alkaline. They are not acids. They have very high pH. So the thing about humic and fulvic, both together, provide the full spectrum of minerals your body needs, and they're designed by Mother Nature to have the same ratios of minerals that your body uses. So it's got a lot of magnesium and potassium and calcium, what we call the macro minerals. But it also has all of the micronutrients your body needs in those proper ratios. And that's a really important thing because, if you've ever taken too much salt-based magnesium, or if you've ever had a colonoscopy, they use magnesium citrate and they give you a lot of it and it makes you go, okay?
Yeah. Flushes you out.
It flushes you out because your body's like, I've got too much, I need to eliminate right now. And so that's why it flushes you out. The beautiful thing about taking humic and fulvic is you can take more, and it's just putting all of the minerals back in the proper ratios. It's not creating a concentration of a specific mineral in your gut microbiome that's going to cause you to eliminate.
And so, if people are taking all different styles of these minerals in bottles and pills and powder and things, this is an opportunity for them to sort of wean down off of that and get something that's going to be not just more bioavailable in general, but like this better, let's just say a modulation for what the body needs across all of these types of minerals, so they kind of get everything at once.
And that is really the key to, it's hard to take a capsule of calcium and first of all know how much you need, but also to titrate, down to some amount that would be right for my body rather than a 6'4", 240-pound person. So, but let's talk about humic and fulvic because how they work.
Yeah.
Because this is the beauty of humic and fulvic, is that they have much more capacities beyond just providing the minerals. So let's talk about fulvic first. And fulvic is actually part of the humic molecule, and then it is possible to extract it out of the humic molecule so that it becomes its own actor, its own molecule. And it's an extremely small molecule, much, much smaller than a cell. And it's I think they call it a polyelectrolyte. So it has the ability to change its electrolyte charge. It's the only molecule on Earth that can do this. The only molecule on Earth that can change its polarity. So what it does is it's in the bloodstream. You've eaten it, you're drunk it. In the case of our minerals, it's been absorbed extremely easily through any tissue that it touches. It doesn't require digestion. Just goes straight through any tissue it touches into your bloodstream or into the tissues, even into the cells. And now it becomes available to the mitochondria. All the mineral content that it's brought is available to the mitochondria. And what happens is actually changes its electrical charge, and like a magnet, those minerals and nutritional elements fall off where they're available to the mitochondria. Now, the beautiful thing is that now it travels around in that opposite polarity, and it gathers up the waste, the bio-waste, the toxins, the heavy metals, free radicals, spike proteins, just cellular detritus, and it carries those now out of the cell. The term for this is called a flavonoid, and Fulvic is one of the most powerful flavonoids known or available.
Amazing.
It carries 60 times its molecular weight of nutrients and 60 times its weight of biowaste and toxins out of the cell.
Amazing.
So right here,
it wasn't even clear that was happening with the detoxification process, which is so important, especially in today's world where everybody's getting all this extra.
Exactly. And think about all the toxins that are stored in our fat cells. When the body doesn't know what to do with an environmental toxin, it often will store it in the fat cells. Now, that's inside the cell. You need to get it out. So oftentimes when people lose weight, they have detox symptoms because they are losing the toxins that were stored in those fat cells. So, but what if you could actually start removing them today?
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of the Fulvic, is this intercellular transportation, incredibly efficient intercellular transportation. Now, the humic cell is humic molecule, is very different. It's much larger than a cell. It hangs out in the bloodstream. I like to describe it like a Velcro ball. It's very sticky on the outside, it has a huge amount of surface, kind of porous surface area. And it's also an extremely strong electrolyte. It just travels through the bloodstream, picking up all that bio-waste, toxins, heavy metals, chelates, extremely effective chelator of heavy metals. It also adsorbs, so it gathers glyphosate that has gotten into your bloodstream and will actually build a film around it, so it can no longer have its negative effects in your system. So then at a certain point, this molecule gets so heavy because it's gathered all these things, it falls out of solution and it leaves your body, now detoxifying your entire cellular ecosystem of your body, leaving through all of the channels, including your sweat, your snot, your tears, your earwax, you're rubbing, sloughing off cells, the bottoms of your feet, and your urine and feces. So it doesn't require certain detox channels to be open.
Yeah, that's great. It's like miracle workers for the body. And it resonates so much with me. And I'm sure many people are listening because I do lab work with all my clients and we see things show up all the time around inflammation, detoxification, heavy metals. There's just so much stuff. And glyphosate is a thing, I work really hard to have organic and fresh and farmers market and all the things I can in my fridge. And of course, with my clients within our budgets. And there's always going to be times that we're eating out in the world or when someone cooks us a meal. And of course, there's pleasure in that. But glyphosate is just one of those things that's sprayed on crops that's so rampant that we're getting it. It's showing up on lab tests. It's showing up depending on which test I'm running. I'm seeing all these things. And so this is the big, I had this conversation yesterday with a mutual friend, Lauren Sambataro, who's just talking about what and how we navigate people who are coming to us saying, I want to detox. I'm going to go vegetarian. I'm going to do a juice cleanse. The juice cleanse ends up being 50% fruit juice, just really not. And it's no slight on anyone who's listening. If you're this is the best way to detox, perhaps you are going to do a vegetable juice cleanse for a few days. And it's just to lighten the body and to do some other things that's maybe mimicking a little bit of fasting-ish for people, but really that we're getting it wrong, especially when I lived in Los Angeles, when there was this huge boom of the juice fast. It's not quite doing the job, not at all doing the job of what we really need for detoxification, for pulling these things out of our body. And, there are times when people have really gnarly test results show up where I have to go to take different measures that are really more like the push catch things and like getting binders and things involved. But like knowing that from a staple or every morning, having something like this in your lifestyle as a choice that you take is something that's going to be doing the slow, steady work every day of moving these things through the system. And so that's just a beautiful notion and a beautiful piece of education to share with people here on the show, because this is, it's the simple consistencies, right, Caroline? It's like what we do a little bit every day that defines us. It's really beautiful if you're like, hey, I have this red light therapy panel, but if you're hanging your clothes on it as like a clothes dryer or you're not using it, then it's not, the simple consistency isn't creating this long-term health optimization that we want. And so what are the ways, and again, I will say, because this is what comes up with Beam a lot, is people are like, how do I navigate working the supplementation that I need into my lifestyle, right? Into my lifestyle. I'm a busy executive, traveling around a lot, doing all the things, knowing that they can have, the liquid product at home, that you have also a capsule product, which I want you to talk about, because you mentioned a lot of these other products coming from like bone and stone and all of that. Like, how do you guys develop a capsule product that is going to be, vital to creating the same ecosystem in the body?
Yeah. Well, first of all, the capsules, the way I think about the capsules is they're almost like a time release. So they go into your gut and they slowly decompose. They're very concentrated. They certainly have lower bioavailability than the liquid, mainly because that liquid requires zero digestion. It starts absorbing in your mouth, your esophagus, your throat. By the time it hits your stomach, your body's actually utilizing some of the mineral content that you've drunk. Okay, it's that quick. Okay. But the beautiful thing with the capsules is they also can provide this slow release, baseline release of minerals into your system. Particularly for athletes, we have found people who are really in intense training cycles, they actually use both. So they use the liquid every day. They also take a capsule every day. They have intense mineral requirements because of their performance, the athletes. But that completely removes any cramping, it creates incredible opportunity for them for hydration. So the difference between something like the Humate that is in our capsules is, again, you have to remember, it's not rocks, it is decomposed plants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, beautiful. And to speak to that too, just to speak about like some of I also wanted to shout out the thing that I had me meet you in the first place. I think the first time I met you, it was like the most overexcited gal running up to your table, because this is the thing that since I met Beam at a show years and years ago, this spray, this Happy Light spray with the bergamot, it's just been like created this thing in my life that this smell, even if I have an essential oil or something that's like bergamot, I'm like, oh, it's like Happy Lights, because it's this beautiful opportunity to, I don't know, the mood boosting mist. It's just the first way I discovered you before I discovered the bigger benefits that even come with Instalights and come with Micro Boost and all of that. So I always like to shout this out, and it's something that when I send my welcome kits out to clients, I always send this too, because it's like, you can keep it in the car. I like with one of my old partners, had a sort of running joke. If one of us was crabby, we'd just be like, Happy Boost in the face. But yeah, like it's such a beautiful product line. And I want to make sure that we're talking a bit about the sprays, because this is the one that the people are most like, when and where and how do I use this? And is it giving me the same benefit? And what's it really doing? When we're looking at, and maybe we need to talk about the electrolytes and the Instalights together and sort of from a categories perspective.
So the beautiful thing about Beam Minerals that is different than lots of other Humic products is we have actually separated the Fulvic from the Humic. Now, if you look at the MicroBoost label, you will see that there is some Fulvic in that product as well. The only reason it's in there is because it keeps it completely in suspension, because Fulvic has that ability to change its charge, and it keeps the Humic in suspension, so you never have to shake the bottle. The Fulvic molecule, remember how small it is, it'll absorb through any tissue that it touches. So the beautiful thing is you can spray it on, and there are hundreds of uses to this, but I'll give you a few. So you get to put minerals where you need them on your body. So let's say you're having a foot cramp in yoga class. You just grab your bottle, you spray your foot, you rub it in, the cramp will go away within 15 to 30 seconds. Let's say you have period cramps. You're going to spray. First of all, if you're having period cramps, you need to be taking the minerals internally. They should go away in 2 to 4 months completely.
Amazing. This is a super great point because there's a lot of that showing up in my world.
In the meantime, you can spray this on your lower back and abdomen. Women are like, I cannot believe this is like, they love it. Okay.
Yeah.
You can also, if you work at the computer a lot, you can spray it and just blink your eyes, because in your eye and in a single rod, like on a cell in a rod in your eye, there's like 40,000 mitochondria in a single cell, and it won't sting at all. You can do it with contacts. There's no grainy feeling. It just feels like your eyes are drinking. You can also just spray and breathe it in, which is great for people who are feeling nauseous or are feeling, if you're giving birth, the birthing people love this because people don't necessarily always want to drink, but they can get an infusion of electrolytes right through their sinuses by spraying this on. Helps with just general body aches when you're in that process. There's so many uses. We just keep finding them. So then what we've done is we've taken Instalites and we've added some scents to it, because the olfactory system is connected to the lower brainstem. So when you breathe in a scent, and people who are essential oils people understand, it has an effect in your body. Bergamot for most people, triggers the release of endorphins. So this is why it's a mood booster. If you have anxiety, if you have chronic, if you tend to panic, have panic attacks, if you have depression, it's not long acting, but it does break that neurotransmitter cycle. So any emotional state in your body is actually a flush of a specific set of neurotransmitters. So imagine being able to change it within 5 to 7 seconds. You just spray it, you breathe it in, and if about 5, 7 seconds later, you're like, wow, I feel different.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful pattern interrupt, because it's like, especially if you're caught in a bit of a loop, to have that, like I would have the bottle in my house next to my bed, a bottle in the car, like just riding along with me, or my purse or something. And it's I want to laugh, and it feels like something that, of course, I would say I'm like interviewing you specifically, but there's times that I'm like, I was on the airplane 2 weeks ago or something, and I have a bottle in my purse. I'm like, hey, spraying my face. And the guy next to me was like, oh, that smells quite nice. What is that? And then I said to them, oh, don't worry, it's not perfume. It's this, and it's essential oils. And I told them about it, and I was like, would you like to try it? And it was a couple, and they looked at each other and got all cute, and were like, okay, great. Yeah. Is it okay? And I'm like, yeah, it's great. So then he sprayed it and she sprayed it. And then they took a picture of the bottle to remember what it was. And it's just like, this is the thing that you just kind of get to pattern interrupt, right? Where people are nervous on a flight and people are feeling like so, and I'm becoming a better traveler all the time, but just having that pattern interrupt, or if I'm feeling like I'm stuck in an emotional state or anything, it's beautiful that you're both getting the nutritive quality and nourishing, as well as breaking the moment and really being able to take it in. And so, like, long lasting or not, it's a definite state shifter, which is really cool.
I used to, when the things were so intense with airplane flight, and there was lots of upset, and I used to actually bring them onto the airplane and give them to the flight attendants.
That's so
They were always like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
So lovely. Beautiful.
So the Fulvic is this tool for really fast replenishment. And whether you're taking it internally, like a shot of electrolytes, or you're spraying it on your skin in a particular area where you might have a sore or cramping muscle, or your eyes or whatever, it's a quick replenishment tool because of its flavonoid capacity, and that, it just gets right into the cell immediately.
Yeah.
Now, the Humic has some because of its detoxification capacity, and this is one of the nice things about having it separated for people, and I am one of them. So I have an autoimmune. I've had this mold exposure in the past, and I also had long COVID. So since COVID, I will actually start to have some detox symptoms if I just take MicroBoost and shoot it as a shot. If I do that for 3 days, I'll start to get a rash, pimples, some different detox things. But it's really easy. So what I do is I just put it in my glass of water every day, and I sit this on my desk and I drink it. Now, and that if I just do it that way, I get no detox symptoms at all. Now, if
Because you've added water to it, right? So it's like lessening it, and it's like slow
So it's not
dosing
just-
it throughout the day.
Yeah, and it's not just hitting my gut all at one time. But for people who are very, very sensitive, and there are so many more since COVID, people are many people are more sensitive. You just would start with a very small amount. And what I kind of am counseling is this concept of the body as an ecosystem. Ecosystems thrive with small incremental changes over a period of time. They don't want to, ecosystems don't like big changes or big concentrations of things. So you just start slow, introduce it, say, hey, body, here's some of this tool that we can get rid of this stuff with. And I'm going to give you a little and see how you like it. And if you have any symptoms, you just slowly do that over a few days and add a little more. I mean, I'm with very sensitive people, we have them start with a 1/4 teaspoon in a 6 to 8 ounce glass of water.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I have most of my clients are taking it with water, and I do have plenty that start just with shots, and there's never an issue whatsoever. Like the morning shooter feels like a fun and easy thing on the way out the door to the office or taking the kiddos to school or what have you. So, so that's great advice for just from a dosage standpoint where people can start and how they can sort of titrate that up to the body catching up to saying, hey, wow, you just gave me all these ingredients that I actually need all at one time, so that they can roll the dose into that. And a lot of things, I think that slow titration for the first week or two is a great idea. Love it. So I want to just, I feel like I could talk about minerals with you for all day, but the thing I like to close out with is just a couple of questions. I want to just get your insight in sort of like outside of the world of minerals, and when we're looking at health optimization, and we don't have to get political if we don't want to, but just what are you seeing as like the big thing that you're hopeful that is on the rise when it comes to health and well-being? Like, are there any trends or innovations or things that are opening up in your landscape that you're like, oh, this is so good, I can see and feel that it's coming for overall wellness of humanity?
Yeah. So, there's some beautiful things that are happening in the world of health and wellness, in that people, because of the internet, because of the pandemic, and so many other things, the accessibility of information, people are starting to take responsibility for their own health. And that is completely changing the whole landscape of health and wellness. And, people I hear story after story that people go to their doctors, they have more information than the doctors. So that's the first thing that I'm really hopeful about. Now, there's always a thing that happens in the beginning of movements where people it's the rubber band effect. They maybe go a little too far. So, biohacking, as an example, is people who really, they wanted to learn, they want to try stuff. And it's beautiful. The challenge is hitting the system so hard. And that's where I really want my hope. And what I'm trying to bring is this concept of the body. It's this ecosystem. It's so beautifully, miraculously complex. And if I can learn to have a relationship with it, rather than trying to do stuff to it, the whole thing is going to work better.
Yeah. And I love that notion. This is like a bit more about, somebody recently was telling me about, there's this 75 hard that people will do. That's like a program, 75 days and all this stuff. And a couple of female coaches started something called 75 soft, where it's like actually taking 75 days and doing the things you're doing, but thinking about working with the body and not like the hammer to the nail, right? So I really love that notion. And then the final question I always ask everybody is, what if you could go back to your 16-year-old self and give them one piece of advice and say, hey, little Caroline, here's something I really want you to drink in, to take in, that will change your health and well-being as you grow into an adult? What would that piece of advice be?
That is such a good question. At 16, I was so driven. I think I would tell myself that everything is happening exactly as it should in the perfect timing.
Yeah, that's so sweet and spot on. The universe tends to conspire for us, and sometimes we're trying to drive the bus way more than we need to. I really
Yes.
love that. Yeah, so beautiful. Will you tell people where they can find you, Beam Minerals, and also if they're like, I don't know where to start, I'm interested in Beam Minerals, what's the first thing that I bring into my life? I know that I typically start clients with sort of the multi-pack that you have, but where can they find you, and how should they start?
Well, you can go to beamminerals.com, that's like beam of light, beamminerals.com. And just so everyone knows, BEAM stands for Best Electrolytes and Minerals. That's how it came to be. We were like, what do we do? And we say, we provide the best electrolytes and minerals. So that's what BEAM Minerals is. What we always recommend people do is start with our advanced set. The advanced set is Electrolyze and Microboost, and it's going to be a 2-month supply of minerals. And you're going to just take a half an ounce each day. I mean, with the Microboost, if you're a sensitive person, you're going to start a little bit slower, putting it in water, but it's really up to half an ounce each every day. And that's going to be your foundational amount. And you're going to give yourself 2 months. You're not going to look for a change in 3 days or a week. I'm not saying you won't, because many people do feel a change really quickly. But you're going to give yourself 2 months to start fueling your body with all of those minerals in their natural ratios every single day, so that your body can start going, oh, I've got what I need. My nervous system doesn't have to be all amped up. I can relax now. And it's like a sea change event that can occur in the body.
Yeah, so amazing. Yeah, that's beautiful. And I do recommend, I think I'm watching people in the world from a budgetary standpoint, what we spend on all of these things and all of the last 10%, like I talked about earlier, and just really getting the baseline right. And it's affordable. And again, it's like, take the 2-month challenge with Beam Minerals, get that set, try it out, see how you feel. And then write Caroline, let us know what changes you're seeing and how your world and your health is opening up. So beautiful. Okay, well, we're all gonna get up in the morning together and have shots collectively. And I just appreciate you so much for coming and sharing your wisdom and your education with people who are listening to the show, and just your powerful nature. You have this beautiful, calm, steady presence every time that I see you at the shows. The shows are all crazy, the conferences are crazy, and you really just always have this unshakable confidence and presence it's just a joy to be around. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today, Caroline, and talking about Beam Minerals.
Kristen, thank you so much. I feel the same about you. What a beautiful countenance.
Oh, lovely. Okay, well, see you guys in the morning.